right, and then what do you want to do?
I don't know. Let's play the intro. Welcome everybody to the Glaziar Gamble. This is hosted by Mychal Glaziar and Joe Rybolt, and we have the sports section here for you. Episode 31. We do have two sections. If you like Marvel and entertainment news, feel free to check that out. This sports one, though, today we have some NBA news with some trade rumors, with the trade deadline not too far away. Primarily focused around Ben Simmons because he's going to be the hot name, and it's been a while since we talked about him, so we're legally okay to talk about him again. And then we got NFL news with some Dak Prescott Cowboys stuff. We haven't really done any Cowboys talk before because we don't want to be one of those people. So, here's your...
It's America's team.
We got your obligatory Cowboys talk at some point during the show. And then we got some more Mike Zimmer stuff, some Minnesota Vikings stuff, Bruce Arians news, and then the next week 2 of the NFL playoffs that we have. And that's
I don't think we're picking anyone because it's going to be tough.
It's gonna be hard. This week's a lot harder.
Maybe we'll pick one.
I know, and I got all 6
have a good
right
conversation about it.
I got all 6 right week 1. I don't want to mess up my streak, and normally I'm just a shitter with picks. So let's start with basketball talk because we'll get it out of the way. Some trade rumors. Again, this is for Ben Simmons. The first one that was confirmed, reported, and confirmed. Denied by the Philadelphia 76ers and Daryl Morey. Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first-round pick. The Sixers were not willing to even entertain that offer for Ben Simmons straight up.
So let's see. If you think back to the days of Kevin Love with the Wolves, he was the best player by a mile on a bad team. And Jeremy Grant is that same player. He's not as dominating as Kevin Love was.
Not when it comes to rebounds, for sure.
Not even close. Jeremy Grant is probably the most versatile. He can guard probably 2 through 4. He's got a good jumper. He can score. He does everything right. He does a lot of things really good. And so getting a player like that, I don't think is a bad idea because he's like a 4, right? He's like a 3-4 hybrid.
3-4, right? Small ball 5 probably in the lab.
Yeah.
If the other team goes small enough, you can go 5.
Yeah, and on Philly, he'd be the starting 4. Him and Tobias Harris would be interchangeable almost.
He'd probably be the 3. And Tobias they 4, like Tobias at the 4, even though I would flip that.
Right, and then what? You got who's your point guard then? Thibault, and
Thibault, Maxey, probably Thibault. Yeah, and then Curry is 2.
I don't know.
And then you have Saddiq Bey as you
get a young prospect too, and then you got Kelly Olynyk who can put up.
And they still have Drummond, right? Or is he hurt?
Yeah, Drummond's still there.
So then you have Drummond and Olynyk as your back.
Yeah,
that's just insane.
Yeah.
I think the Sixers were dumb to not take that.
Yeah, we both saw that trade now, and we were like, "What?" I was like, what did I say? I was like, all right, if this doesn't do it, then I'm out for Simmons.
Absolutely. There's no team that should see this and go, oh yeah, we can offer more than that.
That makes me think that if the Wolves offered someone like Cat, straight up, they'd just say no.
Yeah, they'd probably be like,
I get the position, we have Embiid, we don't need Cat, but say you didn't have Embiid, right? Say you didn't have Embiid, and you're like, all right, I'm Karl Anthony Towns for Ben Simmons, right? You take that in a heartbeat. Doesn't matter what team you are, but I don't know. It's just, it's no.
That trade gives them. So you're not even playing Simmons right now.
Yeah.
So that trade gives you additional starters, additional rotational players. You go into the playoffs with an easy 10-man rotation.
Yeah, and you can probably move Olynyk still if you wanted to.
Right.
You can move Olynyk after that. You're going to keep the other 2 pieces.
Your backup 5 could probably beat some team's starting 5, especially on a good night.
Right.
With that trade.
Yeah.
So starter quality guys on your bench, which maybe the issue is they understand that those guys would leave. Maybe they understand that some of these guys wouldn't stay knowing that their roles would diminish, but jeez, I couldn't believe when I saw that they turned that down. It's official. Simmons is going to be on the Sixers, not playing the whole season. There's zero chance that a team offers what, 4 firsts?
You think you're gonna get better than that, or like even like the next one? Like I don't know.
Which, speaking of the next one, was with the Kings. Was this one confirmed or just a rumor?
This was just a rumor, I believe. I would bring up Twitter and check my sources, but
because that first one was confirmed. So this one we won't say it's confirmed.
I've seen multiple outlets saying this, but
so it was Buddy Hield, Tyrese Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, 2 first-round picks for Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle. This one, I understand turning it down. If it was for Ben Simmons straight up, they would have been stupid to turn that down again.
Yeah.
But you're giving up 3 starters.
Is tough because Thybulle is like one of the league's best defenders. I think he's like top 5 for point guards right now.
Last time I checked, he was the number 2 ISO defender for point guards.
Ricky Rubio.
Right.
So that piece I would take off. Right, but if you think Tobias Harris is worth that contract, which not a lot of people do,
me being one of those,
including us, but then you can get out of that. And granted, you're going to get Harrison Barnes contracts, but that's like $19 million the next 2 years, and Buddy Hield's contract is like 20 something too, and you're getting a young star, and you're getting 2 firsts. So
you have draft capital, you get more starters. I think if you took out Thybulle, that deal is,
and maybe put another piece that you don't want, then. There you go.
And I don't know if that's just for the salary to work or what, but
they think if they think that highly of Simmons, then they think very highly of Tobias Harris, which probably shouldn't be done.
And then you have the Kings on the other hand, who Buddy Hield comes off the bench. Harrison Barnes is probably their favorite, like the organization's favorite piece there.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
And I've seen a lot of things that the Kings really want to keep Halliburton and Fox together, so that surprises me anyway. So,
right, which is the opposite of what they were saying, especially with De'Aaron Fox having a down season. I think these teams should be happy that the Sixers are turning it down. And if I was a Sixers fan, I would be so mad that, like, at this point, we said it before. At this point, if a team offers you a starter for Ben Simmons, you might as well do it.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, he can get the guys that you're getting in return have to be good because they have to match the salary.
Yeah, and you're getting, like, for the first one, you're getting Saddiq Bey, Kelly Olynyk, and a first. You're going to keep Jeremy Grant. If you don't see Saddiq Bey as a future piece or Kelly Olynyk as a future piece, and you don't need first-round pick, what's a first-round pick going to do for you if you're in a playoff run? You know what I mean? So you have 3 pieces there that you could still move for more capital or more players that can help you. And then with the second one, Tyrese Halliburton could be a future starting point guard for you. Buddy Hield is scoring. You always need shooters. He's better than Seth Curry, probably, scoring-wise. And then Harrison Barnes is just a contract you can move. It's an expiring contract. And then you get 2 firsts. I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. It makes it seem like at this point it's just stubbornness because they're upset with what Simmons is doing.
Yeah. There's stubbornness for sure if they don't take those trades. I mean, here's the thing: like you're looking at all these other front offices, and they're sitting there like crunching numbers, and they're all sitting there in the thing. They're having coffee in the morning, sit around, and be like, "Oh, what do you guys want to accomplish today?" And then some guys like, "You guys," slides a piece of paper in, and he's like, "Yo, the Sixers just turned down this deal," and they're sitting there drinking their coffee, and they go like that, and they're just like, "What?" Like. And then everyone in the front office is just laughing at Philadelphia.
Oh yeah,
from all these teams.
I would if I were like the Wolves, who were one of the teams that were most interested in Simmons. If I were the Wolves and saw that, 100%. If it's Glenn Taylor, he's probably like, "Oh yeah, we can give more." But if it's anybody else, they're probably like, "Oh no, this is dumb."
What's an equivalent offer
to Jeremy Grant? You mean the Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, Olynyk for the Wolves?
So
that'd probably be Vanderbilt,
McDaniels. There's the young piece. There's the vet, the young piece, and then a backup, Malik Beasley. So it'd be Vanderbilt, McDaniels, Malik Beasley, and a first would be equivalent to that, probably.
At least that, with the way.
At least that.
Because Jeremy Grant, in my opinion, is better than all those Wolves pieces that we said.
Yeah.
Even though we think highly of them, I think the rest of the league wouldn't think.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt has probably the offensive rebounding on him, but Yeah.
But that's about like you'd probably throw in an extra first, and that probably makes it a little bit.
So that's closest.
Which the Wolves would absolutely destroy the Wolves.
Yeah, why would we do that? Why would we do that? Here's one little question for you too. So the other night, Wolves were playing Atlanta. They had the infamous Minnesota Timberwolves turd third. Part to the fact that Anthony Edwards got ejected, and Jimmy Butler got ejected that same night. Not different, separate games. Are you a fan of the refs having a short leash, or do you think they should accept the back talk a little bit? And
I think it depends. If it's back talk towards the ref, I'm fine with a shorter leash, especially with some of these guys. Like, I really like Luka Doncic, but some of these guys, when you complain 4 calls in a row and it's like obvious that you did it, I'm not fine. I'm if you want to talk back every time you get a penalty called against you, then you get a short leash. I don't care.
Yeah, but I didn't see the Jimmy thing right away, but Ant he took a hard layup. He probably got fouled. But he slammed into the back, the thing behind the basket, the safety thing, the cushion. And then he said something. The ref called a technical, which stopped the play, and then he walked over to the ref and was like right next to him, like not in his face, but like right next to him, like walking and talking with him. And then he must have said something. The ref was just like, you know what? You're fucking out of here.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing is like, take that first technical and either take it in stride and keep playing. Cause like you potentially cost your team a win, especially a team that's trying to race.
And at halftime, he was our leading scorer. So.
Exactly. So I think that the players got to be smarter, but I'm fine with a shorter leash when it's directed at the refs. While I do think the refs can be soft, these players are also showing that they're soft. If you're going to complain after everything, like there's guys that they go up, they take it hard, they'll complain, they don't get the call. So the next time they just foul harder. Now, if that starts building up and then you start getting the calls and then you don't start getting them, go ahead and get yourself ejected just to let yourself be heard. But I think that refs should be fine letting players jaw at each other. I'm fine with guys like talking back and forth. As soon as they start getting a little too physical, you hit them with one tech, they get physical again, then they're gone. So I think longer leash when it's player to player, but if it's player to ref, because as soon as
you've got people that communicate very well with the referee on your team. You got Patrick Beverly, you got D'Angelo Russell, like they are very good talking to referees in a polite manner.
You should have a team leader that does that. You should. So that'd be my stance. Because as soon as you let these guys have a longer leash talking with the refs, that's when you start getting, soccer, where these guys are literally like just flailing about, and it's just
I've seen a soccer video before of like a teammate coming by and like hitting his teammate on the ass or something, and the guy just like crumbles.
Yeah, I saw something similar, except it was the ref. The ref touched the guy on the shoulder because he was gonna talk to him, and when he touched the guy on the shoulder, the guy like goes, "Oh," like flails. And the ref looks at him and just like stares, and that was the end of the video, was the ref not understanding what to do. Like the ref's probably like, do I yellow card this guy for that, or like what do I do? But that's what you get. If you get these guys a longer leash, they're gonna start flailing and then complaining to the ref, and the ref's just gonna have to sit there like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, Cat's been a prime example this year. First like 20 games of the season, he's complaining damn near every time down the floor. And then most recently he's been getting offensive foul calls because he's been kicking his leg out on threes.
Right, that's a foul.
And he's stopped complaining as much, and he's basically like publicly said like, yeah, I gotta not stick my leg, like I gotta not do that.
And these refs understand, like they understand, like, oh, these two players got beef. They're gonna complain to me more than they normally would complain, and that's gonna be in the back of their mind. The refs are human. The refs are. I don't obviously think the refs are always right, but most of the time when you watch the play, if you were to follow a player that was ejected, so if we were to watch the entire game and never take our eyes off Anthony Edwards, I guarantee he said something to the refs at least 2 other times during the game.
Sure.
And that's the sort of thing, like just because on video we think he only talked to the ref twice because that was the 2 technicals.
Yeah, the technicals are.
He's probably, as he runs by the ref, says something to, like, he might not even act like he's saying it to the ref, but he might say it because he's near the ref and he wants the ref to hear it.
Sure.
If you want, the players are gonna do that. That's just what happens. I'm
fine. I'm fine with it. You got to learn that lesson, like especially a young player,
especially like an 18, 19-year-old coming in.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Patrick Beverley's gotten teed up, and Patrick Beverley shuts up because he wants to stay in the game and help his team. You know, but
when I was a referee, not a single technical ever given out.
Really?
I never once gave a tech. It was I don't think I ever even needed to.
I'd threaten it if I was a ref. I'd be like, watch it 18. There
was one time where, because I ref mainly girls basketball. There was one I was reffing that it was like D3 college, so it was played at like a high school, and I was reffing it, and this girl said something. I was like, yeah. And that's like the closest I ever got to even thinking about it. But I was like, yeah.
Just throw her out of the game.
Well, like there's like, it's sometimes they complain. Like I think she got fouled, and I called the foul, and she fell underneath the basket. And then she said something to me like, she's been doing that all night. And I was like, yeah. That's a lot of the time they just weren't very aggressive. But not once did I give a tech, because it's more fun to let them play. But if somebody wants, like, again, there you go. Like the closest I ever got to giving a technical was somebody yelling at me.
Yeah.
Like I'm just doing my job. I'm watching you do yours. So as soon as you start telling the ref how to do their job, the ref's not getting in the way of the players jawing back and forth. So he's not telling them how to do their job.
You're just like you just give them advice, take the little whistle out.
Tuck your elbow in, and you'll probably make more shots.
Follow through sucks ass.
Yeah, follow through. It's got like a John for some reason. I hate that.
I don't even know why I'm here.
Like not even running up the court.
Yeah, I just remember there's a travel game. 9th grade high school basketball. I got a foul call, and I was in like foul trouble. I had like 2 fouls. I didn't want to, so I paid my second foul. Coach wanted to take me out. I got 2 more fouls before my sub could get in.
I remember that because I was on the bench with my appendicitis.
Yeah. So it was 9th grade.
Yeah.
I was like, what the? I'm out the rest of the game. I was like, all right, sweet.
I guarantee I could tell you that ref too, because every time he refed, he did that to us.
It's some coach, right? Girls basketball, girls soccer, glasses. He was a douche.
Yeah, yep,
for sure.
Huge. And when he did the same thing in football, always threw flags. I remember we had
when we got to 9th grade, when we got to that team, we changed the game. Our first game, we both got the team ball, or like you got the game ball, and I was like, first off, Beast just like boom hits the tip all the way down.
Yeah, the first play, first play back.
Then they were playing a 2-3 zone, and I was just sitting on the block. And then Brummer would just pass it to Beast. Or no, Brummer would like drive in, and then the like center and the wing on the 3 of the zone would move up, and then Brummer would just do a little bounce pass, and I would just turn and make it. And then the wing guy was like yelling at the center guy. He's like, dude, that's your job. And I was like, nah, it's your job. And then like ran by. It's like, all right, it's my debut for 9th grade.
And also don't forget that my debut game where I made that play. I also had the wrong shorts. I had mismatching shorts colors.
Nice.
I wore we had red shorts and white shorts, and I brought the red ones, and we were supposed to wear white.
My dad told me if I scored 20 points in a game, he'd buy me an Xbox, and I scored 18 points that game, and I still got an Xbox. So let's go.
Well, there's basketball talk. A little fun story for everybody. Let's jump to football. The first thing, let's do the Cowboy talk. Speaking of refs,
let me tie this into basketball.
Oh, sure.
Cat made a comment. I don't know if you saw that.
About the Cowboys thing?
No, he's like, I'm not going to make a Dak Prescott situation and talk about the refs.
Well,
like my man.
Cowboys played playoffs. They lost to the Niners, as expected.
And I don't know what that play call was. That I'm out on Kellen Moore after that.
Yeah, because Mike McCarthy wasn't doing the play calling. So they lost. They blamed the refs for the loss. The fans threw trash at the refs as they ran off the field.
And their players.
Which ended up hitting DeMarcus Lawrence. He blocked it with his helmet, so he was fine. But like Dak, he got mad because it almost hit DeMarcus Lawrence. And then they said, oh, they were directing at the fans. So then he was like, oh, then that's fine.
Directing at the refs, you mean?
Or at the refs, yeah. And then he said, "Oh, that's fine."
I heard him say something along the lines of, "You know why they ran off so fast? Like they wanted to get out of there. Like
they knew what
they made him. They knew they made a mistake. That's why they ran off so fast."
Well, then he apologized. He released a statement saying he shouldn't have said that. And then today he got hit with a fine for talking about the refs. It's always been a rule that you can't talk about officiating.
They should have stepped aside and let the ref like touch the ball like he's supposed to, not get in the way.
Yeah, that was a quarterback panic mode who doesn't have playoff experience.
Yeah, they could have clocked it with 1 or 2 seconds left, but
yep. And then because the offensive line got in the way, yes, the ref should have not been back 20 yards or 25 yards or whatever it was. I think it was somebody said 15, somebody said 25, so let's say 20 yards back. Yeah, he should have been showing some more hustle. He doesn't need to sprint, but you need to follow the play. As soon as Dak Prescott started running, he should have been.
Right, but I mean, there's also players behind Dak too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like Dak outran his line and the defensive line. So you don't want to get up there and interfere with those players trying to make continue their play too. So
yeah, it's just there's a lot that shouldn't have happened. The ref all he had to do was touch the ball. He didn't even have to move it. So the center did give himself an extra 1.5 yards from the spot because Dak slid. So it needed to be back to where Dak slid from, not to where he landed. Right. So the Cowboys were trying to give themselves extra yards.
They're at the 50. They were at the 50, right?
Yeah.
And so Dak ran 15 yards, something like that. 16 yards. Dak could throw it 50 yards, right?
Yeah. Two shots at the end zone would have been the right play, or a corner route,
or not run 15 yards and run 7 or 10.
I wouldn't run a quarterback run at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. I would have done an out. I don't know.
I would have done a 10 and out, 5 and out, 15 and out, or a corner route, because corner route would have been like a deep corner. And if you don't make that play, you still have another end zone shot, as opposed to you ran out the clock in general. So it all started with bad play calling anyway. Everything that happened after that, it was just kept declining. Yet the ref messed up. The Dak messed up.
Yeah, and they're going to find something to blame that's not them.
Exactly.
When there's a million other plays that they could have.
Not to mention they're the most penalized team. Like the big thing is it's the team. It's the refs' fault because they also called 14 penalties on us. You're the most penalized team in football this year. So that's coaching again. I agree. I'm out on Kellen Moore. Not because of that play, but I haven't been on Kellen Moore.
At
all.
Yeah, I'm out of the 10 people now that they've done for a head coach. He's not up there for me. I've heard a lot of positive things about DeMeco Ryans, heard a lot of positive things about Todd Bowles. It scares me about Todd Bowles because Jets ties, but
as a head coach, Todd Bowles didn't do well. As a defensive coordinator, every team he's been on has found success.
Yeah, right.
Do you want him as a head coach? Is it just because he needs to find the right teams? I mean, I don't blame anybody for doing poorly on the Jets. I don't blame players. I don't blame coaches.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That organization is just a failure. I don't really blame anybody when they do badly on the Jets, but I like Todd Bowles.
I like Todd Bowles too. It scares me because of the Jets.
Yeah. So since we started talking about the coaching options, let's just mention quickly they did not give Mike McDaniel an interview. But one thing that I do like about DeMeco Ryans is he was a wide receiver coach in the past, and he was also offensive personnel administrator. So he was like an advisor role for the offense, and then he got promoted to wide receivers coach and then defensive coordinator.
Okay, as a former linebacker, right?
Right. So he's a defensive player that coached on offense first, then defense.
Okay.
So, and he's fairly young. So
yeah, he's 30s.
Yeah. So I've come around more on DeMeco Ryans. I still want Mike McDaniel the most.
Yeah,
I want an offensive guy.
I do too. I mean, I think the one thing that for the Vikings offense, we've talked about this, they're missing 2 linemen, and then they have an elite level offense that they can put out there, top 5 possibly. So as where their offense stands right now, they need a center and a right guard. But
if the offensive line plays even if they go 15 or 16th best offensive line, it's going to be a top 5 offense.
I think the other three, if the two other linemen play at an average level, Brian O'Neill can carry some weight, Darisaw can carry some weight, and because Cleveland is next to Darisaw, it doesn't have to cover for the center. Cleveland can carry some of that weight too. So
early rumors for like I said, now this is my draft season, so this is when I'm trying to get draft news. Early rumors is the Vikings are looking to draft a corner at pick 12.
I mean, I can believe that.
So it doesn't sound like they'll
with or without Zimmer, the trend continues.
Well, and that was the thing is the guy I was talking to, he was just like, Zimmer's not there, right? But they're acting like he's still there.
Right.
And I was like, well, let's see what the new GM
you'll see a trade up for an offensive player in the second round. You'll see a defensive lineman prospect in the third, and then you'll see a wide receiver most likely in the fifth.
That's what I think is going to be the most exciting thing about the Vikings draft this year. Is it's not going to be a Spielman draft. So we're not expecting a trade down at every pick.
Right.
We're actually expecting a trade up or standing pat and just taking the best player available.
If a GM gets in there, they're going to want to make an impact right away, right? So they're going to want to get a player that can make a big impact, not drafting 11 rookies and only have one see more than 50 snaps.
Or having all but one player from your draft still be on the team less than 2 years later.
So we had Kellen Mond, we had Chaz Surratt, you had Wyatt Davis. None of those guys you can throw in there? I don't.
Wyatt Davis should have got some time, especially once they were out of the playoffs. That last game was just BS. Yeah. But
and with the occasional linebacker issues, Chaz Surratt should have got out there.
Right, and not have your coach be like, Chaz sucks.
Yeah, you had Cam Bynum who played well.
What I can't remember which reporter asked, but he was asked Zimmer, what do you think about getting Chaz Surratt some snaps? And he's like, I don't like the thought of that at all. But he just flat out says, I don't like that at all.
Yeah. What do you think about? Do you want to see more of Kellen Mond? I've seen enough of him already.
Right. And so Chaz Surratt and Kellen Mond already, the next coach coming in has to be like confidence boost for these guys.
Right. And Chaz Surratt, undersized, right? But he can fly around.
He came in as a raw prospect that you're going to have to develop.
Fly around. He's quick. He's a little undersized, but he's quick. Kind of, I don't know.
He's if you could get a combination of Troy Dye and Chaz Surratt and develop a player like that, I think that's what an ideal outside linebacker is for a lot of coaches right now. But yeah, Chaz Surratt, that's the type of player. I don't think he was even on special teams very much.
Yeah.
You could develop him as such a good gunner. He is
something like that.
He's a linebacker. Best way to teach him how to tackle in the open field, make him a gunner.
Yeah.
He's fast enough to do it. So we mentioned Zimmer. Let's talk about Zimmer, and then Joe wanted to mention something about the Raiders. But the thing about Zimmer is Zimmer, apparently, this was reported in the Star Tribune, which is, for those that don't know, is a Minnesota-based news
it's our big newspaper here.
Yeah, and they also have an online newspaper. Apparently it was reported that he gave a presentation to the team and went through on a PowerPoint to the whole team in front of everyone and explained all the things throughout his tenure that went wrong and why it wasn't his fault that the team is not performing. Yeah. And he brought up Teddy Bridgewater getting injured.
Something with AP. It was right at the start.
Right. Something with Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson leaving.
Is his kid? Is it the kid?
The abuse.
Yeah.
It could have been that. I
don't know.
He brought up all these different... Jeff Gladney. He brought up Jeff Gladney.
Yeah.
So...
Sharif Floyd probably was up there.
Right. Sharif Floyd was probably brought up. What I think is ridiculous is... So... First of all, that happened, and apparently the entire team just sat there awestruck, and they were didn't know what was happening. They didn't they didn't think it was professional. They didn't think it was something that a coach would do.
Yeah, and Adam Zimmer probably told him to do it too. So something like someone had to tell him yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, do that. Great idea. I'll help you put this PowerPoint together.
Do that. I can do PowerPoint, Dad.
And I think that falls on I don't know if it's the Wilfs or Spielman, because I know Spielman and Zimmer were friends, even though apparently they didn't talk this entire last
Spielman
season.
Just threw some shade. I couldn't find the quote because
Zimmer didn't talk to him this entire season.
Yeah. That's so bizarre. And then he didn't start talking to Kirk until this season. That just blows my mind, man. That right there blows my mind the most, because if you think the quarterback's the leader of the field, leader of the team on the field, and you're the leader of the team off the field.
And that whole
fighting.
Zimmer Kirk fight that happened, that everybody like said we were blowing out of proportion. Now just everybody's talking about how it makes so much more sense now.
Yeah. Kirk was like, I fucking told you we could do it. Like,
right. Yeah.
I freaking told you we could do it. Gosh dang it. Like,
I flipping told you. Yeah. We can do this spit.
I don't know. Kirk should have been at his throat all season if we can get that kind of.
Exactly. He's got a nice guy quarterback, so he's not going to. He wanted a team that he could walk all over. Yeah. Which is why he wanted to. That's why he didn't bring in a lot of vets in free agency. He probably didn't want the vets talking down to him. Yeah. Like, could you imagine any sort of vet that respected themselves? That's probably the only person Zimmer talked well to. Sounds like this sounds like Flores times 100.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up that presentation because I can't believe it, and that's either on the Wilfs and they need to do better, or that was on Spielman and
that's on GM. Spielman too. Yeah.
So, or the president
Spielman
of
should know what's
operations.
going. Yeah, Spielman should know what's going on. Like,
if anybody that ranked higher than Zimmer was in that room or heard about it before that happened, they should have stopped it. And if anybody higher up heard about it after, needed to tell Zimmer exactly why that was a problem.
Yeah. So I don't know. It sounds like there's a lot of leaders on the Vikings team that just didn't. It ran its course. Their relationship ran its course, and like the game philosophy, game theory, or whatever, just ran its course.
This is the sort of stuff I wish came out without getting fired. Like, I wish this stuff came out before Zimmer got fired. I understand that might cause turmoil with the team, but if we know about this information, like if we hear this,
like if say we went through the first season with Kirk. And we hear that like Zimmer never had like a one-on-one meeting with Kirk to talk about the offense and what he thinks needs to happen out there. Like, could you imagine that? Like, what if they're cycling through offensive linemen in practice, and Kirk's like, wow, like Daniil was getting pressure because they stunted on Brian O'Neill, so Brian O'Neill got someone else, got the D tackle, and Daniil had to go up against the guard, and the guard was getting bull rushed. But then they put in a different prospect, say like a Wyatt Davis, just not Kirk's first year, but they put in like a Wyatt Davis, and Wyatt Davis holds Daniil off so that Kirk gets more time to throw. And Kirk going into that meeting is like, hey, just letting you know, like Wyatt Davis has potential. Like I felt more comfortable with him in there. And then Mike Zimmer would probably just been like, no.
Right, Zimmer seems like the type of guy that would have been like, that's exactly why we're playing the other guy. I'm not letting you tell me what to do.
Yeah. Mason Cole's better than Bradbury? Too bad.
I can't believe it. This is why we need all this information out, because you find out why there's issues in the locker room.
Kendricks has spite towards him.
Right. O'Neill has spite towards him.
Yeah.
The not very talkative guys have kind of been down, but like kind of sticking with that. With the Wilfs apparently brought in, Adam Thielen was the first person they brought in, but they brought in a whole bunch of different players. Guy. But Thielen was the big one that said, what do you want in the new leadership? And apparently Thielen explained to them everything that they want. And a common theme from that discussion was apparently respect. Like they felt disrespected.
Yeah, the fear-based thing, and like the rookies coming in. I'm sure they like our vets probably couldn't say anything as the coach is just shitting on all these rookies. You know what I mean? Right.
Yeah, I think Zimmer would be a great defensive coordinator for Bill Belichick. He's gonna be able to talk any way he wants to the players. Blows my mind.
It is mind blowing. Because it's like we watch our favorite team, and then it's just like, if only this was known, we could have been that much better. And that's hard. That's hard to hear.
As soon as you hear about this sort of thing, just let the coach talk to the coach. If he doesn't want to change, just let him go. Yeah. Let's do one last Vikings thing before we talk about the Raiders and Buccaneers. The last thing is Monti Ossenfort came in for the GM interview. Apparently it went really well. Fun fact about Monti is he's from Minnesota.
Yeah, I think he was he had a little run with the Patriots, and then he went to the Titans, I believe.
Yep.
Something like that.
Where he's at now.
And then the Bucks guy, Poles.
Yeah, apparently
Poles
that
did
went
really well.
Yeah, apparently really well Poles is, and the guy from the Chiefs.
Not Spytech. He's someone else. Is it Spytech?
Spytech or Siptech? Spytech. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I have choice
letters
dyslexia. sometimes. A lot of the times, I think it's the letter Y specifically.
Okay.
Always looks like it's in a different part because I thought it was SIPTech, SYP.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's Spytech.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So also H's and K's, if they're close to each other, I always want to put them together.
Yeah, I think those three went really well. But Poles might be out of it because he did have a second interview with the New York Giants, I believe. So
New York Giants.
Yeah.
Sorry, I think of Madagascar every time. Oh hell, the New York Giants.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I would say anybody that goes in for a second interview, they say that if they leave, they're not taking that job. So if he leaves New York without the job, that means he's not going to be able to.
Yeah. That's tough though, because I mean, you can go in and see what they have to offer, but then you look at that team and it's like, do I want to? I don't think so.
I wouldn't want to be with any.
They don't have a top. They don't have a top 10 player at like any position.
I think Bradbury's underrated. I don't know if he'd be top 10. It's hard because like Saquon,
it's not top 10. I can probably name 10.
Taking him. No, I probably couldn't put him top 10. Daniel Jones, probably top 10 rushing quarterback, but he's just going to trip at the end.
Graham Gano, maybe. I don't know.
Galladay, it was clear Stafford was making him better. And
yeah. Galladay can't stay on the field. That's another thing.
Exactly. They have just a bunch of injury-prone players, which is not their fault, but yeah. I wouldn't want to go to the New York Giants, but if he has high faith in them, it's a great city and state, and obviously it's more New Jersey. But let's go into playoffs are going on right now. Bunch of different teams. One lost. If you were paying attention last week, we got most of the picks right. I got all of them on right.
Yep. I picked it. I thought the Cowboys would have a good shot. I picked the other ones just
right. It creates some discussion.
Right. Both teams had a shot. In regards to the Raiders game and the Cowboys game, it's just the Cowboys are we already talked about that. Cowboys were just a horrible final play call. They didn't want to take a heave of faith, I guess. And then the Raiders, they're driving down the field last 40 something seconds on the clock. Yep. So they're driving down the field. They get to like the 20, I believe, something like that, and they clock it. So it's second and 10. They go to the Raiders sideline, and Darren Waller's on the sideline. Second and 10, they're doing nothing but end zone shots here. So your best player, probably the best player on your team, is on the bench, he's not in the game,
which he did. This is his first game back from injury.
Yeah, but I mean, like he probably could have came back. Like
he at least draws an extra eye.
Yeah,
like they're not going to guard. They're not going to.
He just made a 38-yard like basket catch around somebody. Like there's some guy like right here, and he like catches it like.
The only thing I could think of is that he was hurt. Otherwise, 100%.
But he came in the next play. The next two plays. Third and fourth, and they don't throw to him. I'm just so confused. Like, even if it's your best player, like, I don't know, like DeAndre Hopkins, you're going to throw the ball up if he's covered by three people.
That's you just mentioned the Giants don't have a top 10 player at any position.
Yeah.
Darren Waller is a top 5 player at his position.
Top 3 if he's healthy. Top 4 maybe.
I think with Mark Andrews this year.
Yeah,
I think with Mark Andrews this year. That's
so
why
top 4.
I was thinking, like Kittle, Kelsey, Andrews, and then you have a fight for 4 probably.
Yeah.
And so like you have and from a receiver, like this, Darren Waller entered the NFL as a wide receiver. He was drafted as a wide receiver, not a tight end, at 6'6". So he is a weapon. The fact that you don't use him is absurd. And maybe that's because you have a coach, interim coach. Maybe it's because Hunter Renfrow had been doing so well, you wanted to make sure you used him. I don't know why, but deciding not to use Darren Waller could have been the difference between the one first down you needed. Could have been the difference between the one
final drive, like end zone shot
catch. Yeah. Yep.
Very confusing. Like, and this probably has happened at some point. We need a 4th down or something. Like we need a first down, not a 4th down. We need a first down, and like say like Justin Jefferson has like single coverage on the side, and they're gonna like force it to like Chris Herndon or something. That's what it's like. It's like just throw it up.
Just throw it up. You have a better chance.
You threw the pick anyway. You threw a pick at the end of the game anyway, so you might as well throw it to your best player.
Throw it to your 6'6" guy who can jump.
Yeah. I don't know. It was so bizarre. I was so confused. I was like, where is Waller?
Where's Waller? That's the guy with the red and white?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
So that would be a good edit. Where's Waller and put him in like a red and white shirt.
I saw a TikTok once of this guy. He went into a bookstore and he bought a Where's Waldo thing, and he photoshopped Waldo out of every single picture, and then he returned the book.
I saw that on YouTube. I did not see it on TikTok, but
special place in hell for that guy.
I think that is my type of humor.
It's brilliant.
100%. 100%. It's the humor that is probably a little bit too much for some people.
Yeah.
The further you push, the more I laugh. The other thing we want to talk about was the Bucks. They happened to win their game. However, there was a point in their game where Bruce Arians, I think their safety gave up a catch, dropped an interception or something. He made a bad play. Bruce Arians reaches beyond a ref to smack him in the helmet. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
He had a helmet on. It was an open hand slap, so he's not going to hurt him. I've looked at both sides of the argument. I've thought about where I stand on the argument. I understand he's got a helmet on. He didn't get hurt. It's just, a physical sport with a lot of guys with a lot of testosterone, so sometimes those moments happen. But I also understand if you want to take head injury seriously, even small hits on the head, you have to take seriously. They don't want players headbutting each other in celebration anymore. You can yell at somebody, you can swear at them. The idea of having to get physical as a coach or a person that you don't know if you can trust in any moment. So I understand both sides. I don't understand calling for Arians' job. His punishment is a $50,000 fine.
Right.
That is a larger fine
it seems like it is like a heat of the moment thing. It's still, in my opinion, unacceptable. You shouldn't hit your players. And it wasn't like a good job, Pat, right? It wasn't like a hit to the shoulder. It was like hit to, like back.
He was
of the helmet.
swearing at him. Yep, he was swearing at him.
So I don't know, like not necessarily malicious intent, but like you're frustrated, so you hit something. That's not.
It's funny you say malicious intent because that is a heavier fine than a malicious intent headshot to a quarterback. That is still a bigger fine. There has been, I think, $25,000 fine. There was a hit on Tom Brady that was declared malicious intent, hitting him in the head. $25,000 fine from.
But CD Lamb has an untucked jersey and gets a $16,000 fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like these $50,000 fine, the NFL took that seriously.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve to be fired.
No,
this is not old school mentality football. This is not players getting soft. This is not fans getting soft. This is learning how to communicate. All he has to do.
Which I'm not saying Antonio Brown was in the right, but there probably was some lack of communication or some communication issue.
We talked about that with Antonio Brown. We said that the delivery, the time of providing Antonio Brown that news at the time they provided it. Like, by the way, then you're sitting the rest of the game. That's not the time to do it. That's not the time to tell him that. Just like when Zimmer cut Breland, running out onto the field. No, get back here. You're benched.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's a time and a place to do it. There's a way to do it right. Slapping somebody in the head as you're swearing to them. First of all, if you're ever worn a helmet and you get smacked, you're not hearing anything. Bruce Arians is yelling into the void at that point.
You're in a big ass stadium, 1,000 screaming fans. I'm not hearing anything anyway. You
yell out, yo, Adams, get over here. You bring him to the sideline, and that's when go ahead, yell at him, tell him this, but every human being is different. Every person's different. Maybe Adams is one of those guys that as soon as you hit him physically, he could have lost all respect for you. I know that when I had coaches that got physical with players, I never listened to that coach again.
Oh yeah.
If a coach yells doesn't know how to talk, he only yells, I usually tune them out.
10th grade?
Yeah. But if a coach, tells me, sits there and be like, you messed up on this play, this is what you need to do next time. I took that in, absorbed it, and made sure that was in my head every time I was on the court or on the field. Right. But as soon as
you take us to our we're kind of the same way. We had a 10th grade coach that yelled a lot, and he never really gave us instructions on what he wanted. He just yelled and played his favorites. And then we had coaches in our 9th grade intramural. Is that right? And not school ball. It wasn't school ball. It was like summer
traveling,
summer league type thing,
where you played against everyone.
Yeah, and we had coaches that were D1 athletes. So and they were very respectful. They explained what they wanted, and they were willing to listen and teach rather than just yell and whatever. So
because that's what I mean. As a coach, it's your job to handle the game of football. It's your job to communicate with these people as a person, like your head coach, which is why when you're all these teams looking for a head coach, I do not look for a coach that wants to call plays. You want a coach that is totally fine delegating, because no matter how much a head coach delegates to coordinators and personnel, they still have a ton on their plate.
Right.
If they want to be a good head coach, we've talked about it with Sean McVay before, brings a wide receiver over, tells him good job. You've also seen Sean McVay say, what the hell are you doing?
Right.
Like you need that balance.
Sure.
There's
two different things. There's a 10th grade coach where and I wanted to bring up the story, so here we go. So the starters are playing like shit. The second like unit goes in, me and
you both on second.
Me and
unit.
you're both in there. We come down. I think
break
I
a
shot,
three.
You shoot a 3. They're in a zone, so we're like. Yep.
I dribbled up the court, didn't pass the ball once. I just got to the top of the key,
wide open,
brick.
Yeah, right. And then I comes down. You come down. You pass to me in the corner. I'm wide open. I shoot a 3, brick it. All right. He pulls the whole group. We got the whole unit pulled.
Yep.
We're all
2 plays.
Yeah, 2 plays. We're down at the end of the bench, and the coach turns to us and he's like, "How many times do you guys shoot 3s at practice?" Like, just yells, right?
Yep.
And I'm like, we don't say anything because we're getting, embarrassed on the sideline.
Yeah.
The next practice, he has us doing 3-point shooting drills.
Both of us are in the 3-point shooting drills.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a coach that can't maintain their emotions.
Yeah, and so go to the other coach, the one that we learned a lot from.
Carr.
That's Carr. And I don't pick up a foul. I just get subbed out for our buddy Ace. Ace immediately, like before I get subbed out and like walk to the end of the bench, Ace picks up a foul, right? And I'm watching the game, I'm walking back to the bench, I turn and I go, "Coach," and he's like, looks at me, I was like, "I want to go back in." And that's right after Ace picked up the foul, and he looks at Ace, he looks at me, he looks at Ace, he's like, "All right." I go back in.
Just respectful. Does just listened and
the
understood.
bench, like our kids on the bench were like laughing, like, "Yeah, okay, whatever."
Carr puts him in.
Carr puts me in.
Just a coach that speaks with respect. And I think if I were to say like a final thought on Bruce Arians, that was an act of disrespect, punished with a fine. And I think moving forward, I'm sure that's the sort of thing that coaches will stop themselves doing. The last thing that we're going to go over for sports is the week 2 of NFL playoffs. So 4 games. There's Bengals, Titans, Niners, Packers, Rams, Bucks, Bills, Chiefs, with almost all of them being considered a 1-score, like a 3-point game, basically. Almost all of them are, if this was a neutral field, Vegas doesn't know what to do. The Packers is the only ones that are favored by almost a touchdown. Everybody else is basically field goal or less, which I think is interesting. So for Bengals Titans, I think that is the one that has the biggest chance for upset.
Yeah, that's the one.
So I've been on the Bengals.
Upset wise, yeah. Bills and Chiefs could go either way because you don't know which team's going to show up.
I've been on the Bengals bandwagon, I guess you could say, for all year. I was a fan of Burrow. I thought that he was better than what a lot of people were saying about him, but I didn't think he'd be as good as he is. But I've done a series of tweets this year. Go ahead and look up Glazier Gamble Burrow or Glazier Gamble Bengals, and you'll see I have multiple tweets of me saying that the Bengals are so fucking good. They're just so good. And this year, it's when you watch them, they look like a good team. Like there's some of those times, like when you watch Aaron Rodgers play, you're like, okay, he's nuts. Like you expect something good. When you watch the Bengals, it's like, this is a good team.
Right.
So it's fun and it's validating knowing the Vikings lost to a good team very close. Yeah, I think the Bengals are super good. I think the Titans getting Derrick Henry back might actually be like, yeah, it's Derrick Henry, so it's going to be insane. It's also one of those, they haven't had him. They've gotten onto a rhythm. Are you going to try to rely on him too much? Are you going to maybe, I don't know.
It does help a lot because they do have good receivers. I know we don't use PFF a lot, and Julio hasn't been productive, but when Julio's been out there, he's done very well in regards
just doesn't show up on the stats.
Just doesn't show up on the stats. So he's doing things right. And then AJ Brown is obviously really good. So I think having Derrick Henry back will open that up where Tannehill can probably throw it around a little bit. I think Tannehill's probably kind of came down to earth from where everyone thought he was in regards to like oh, he's a top 5 quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he gets exposed a little bit when he doesn't have the hardest running back to stop.
If Derrick Henry comes.
Titans -3.5.
Yeah, all the home teams are favored. I think the Bengals have the biggest chance for upset out of all the teams. However, if Derrick Henry is like fully ready to go, and they said he was fully ready to go, it's kind of hard to say that Derrick Henry isn't going to just run over the Bengals defense.
Yeah, that's true too.
The Bengals' strength is their offense. Derrick Henry running down your throat keeps your offense off the field.
Exactly.
So I do think Bengals have a really good chance for upset, but the Titans, everybody's been undervaluing the Titans all year. It's hard to. If I were to make a pick, I would pick the Titans. But what I want is the Bengals. Niners, Packers. Again, if I want is Niners.
Niners, yeah.
But if I were to be picking, I'd probably pick the Packers. I mentioned it before the playoffs started that the teams that are going to give the Packers an issue, one of them was the Niners, because it's the teams that the Packers have 3 years in a row that they can't stop the run. They got Zadarius Smith back. That could be the difference.
I'll take the Niners in this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna do it because worst case scenario, I'm wrong again.
Right.
So
well, and yeah, it's just from
the heart, I'll take the Niners.
And it's like, oh, you guys got this wrong. You suck. Like, I don't care. This is just like who I think's gonna win. Doesn't affect me professionally or personally. Just I think if I were to, I want the Niners. I hope.
Yeah, I want the Niners. I want the Niners. We could do a deep dive into every game and statistically speaking say who we think is going to win, but it's fun to take the team that we hate and try to hate them more. So
Rams Bucks. Rams are hot, which is why I think the line is this close. I feel like this is one of those times the Bucks just kind of show people why they're good. So
the Rams did very well containing Kyler and doing what they can with Kyler, but Kyler also doesn't have really any weapons.
No D-Hop.
D-Hop kind of opens everything up for them. But your number one option is AJ Green and Zach Ertz.
I mean, I don't know, is Christian Kirk hurt?
I mean, they're there,
and then they had that rookie Elijah Moore, or not Elijah Moore, but
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but they have a couple good weapons. It's just they're not DeAndre Hopkins. They have James Conner,
touchdown machine, but
all right. Yeah. So I think this is a completely different animal. You shouldn't judge how good the Rams are going to be against the Bucks based on the Cardinals. The Cardinals were on the biggest downslope of any team that was in the playoffs. The Rams,
since a D-Hop injury, it's just been downhill.
Exactly. He looked like Culpepper without Moss. He looked like, oh, you missed the one guy that made you look good is gone, and now you don't look good. That was Kyler. It's starting to create the narrative that Kyler isn't as good as people think. That it's really DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in the league. Let's stop disrespecting him.
Sure.
I think
he's not Devontae.
Well, I mean, Devontae.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah.
2 years ago, the narrative would have been.
I still take D-Hop over Devontae.
I think Devontae's wide receiver 1 by a mile.
By a mile?
I don't know. Not a mile, but I think he's the clear number 1.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for. I think if you're looking for a jump ball in the end zone, I'm taking D-Hop. If you're looking for crisp route running, I'm taking Devontae. If you're looking for hands, I'm taking D-Hop.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Devontae Adams is the.
I don't think saying Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the league is wrong.
Yeah.
But by a mile, I'd say that is wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I honestly, my head and I have a Rams jersey. I like the Rams. If they still had Steven Jackson, that'd be who my heart wants. I want Stafford to get another playoff win, but my head says Bucks probably by more than a touchdown. It's just
Brady.
I feel like the Bucks are going to be I think the Bucks are going to win substantially and be hey, this is what you're going against. Their defense has gotten better. I think it has performed better 4 weeks in a row.
I think it's gonna be tough. I think Jalen Ramsey is obviously the best corner in the league, but Mike Evans is a different kind of wide receiver than he's probably used to. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans probably has 4 inches on him, 5 inches on him.
Mike Evans is 6'6.5". Jalen Ramsey 6'3".
I don't know. Yes. So He's a big dude. I don't know. And they got Gronk. They got other receivers. Tyler Johnson can still drop passes like a madman. So I don't know. It's Tom Brady, and I've learned to never bet against Tom Brady. So.
And they have 3 good running backs. Yeah. 2 really, because I think Fournette's still hurt. But I don't know. I know that
they got 3 starting caliber tight ends.
Right. Yeah, they do. I know on
Gronk,
paper,
Cameron Braid, and OJ Howard.
And the way they've been performing lately, people will say pick the Rams. I'm sure a lot of money is coming in on the Rams. It just seems like one of those, something to me says the Bucs are going to win. I'm fine if I'm wrong. I don't have now that the Vikings are gone, I don't really have a favorite. I know who I don't want to win. There's 2 teams left in the playoffs I don't want to win. So there's 6 teams. I'm fine if they win the Super Bowl, but there's 2 teams I don't want to win. So yeah, I'm fine if the Rams win, but I'm picking Bucs. And then last is Bills Chiefs, which is the closest game to Vegas. It's only a 1 point, so it's basically a push, pick 'em, whatever. You don't know.
It just depends which team shows up.
Right.
Is it the 7 touchdown Bills, or is it the 500 yards, 5 touchdowns Patrick Mahomes?
Or is this like the Rams versus Chiefs from 2 years ago, where it's like 56-53?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like both teams, the Bills have started running the ball, keeping the ball out of Mahomes' hands, and is the only way to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I know this is like a down year for Mahomes, but this is a down year for Mahomes, and he's still top 5 in MVP voting.
Yeah, I mean Kelsey ate last week.
Right.
It was like 190 and like 2 touchdowns, something like that. And Tyreek Hill he was right up there too. So I think the Chiefs are gonna need another difference maker. It can't just be Kelsey and Tyreek Hill next week.
Josh Gordon,
Mychal.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out.
And then the Bills, they're gonna need to try to replicate what they did last week on offense, but
you're not going up against
environment.
A terrible team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a different environment
in the loudest stadium. If I were to make a pick, Chiefs. I think it's hard to pick against the team that seems like the obvious better team. This is one of those. My heart says Chiefs, but part of my head says Bills.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I were to pick,
I say Chiefs too. I think they find a way to just get it done.
Agreed. But yeah, so we said we weren't going to go through all the games, we did anyway, but we'll see what happens. The only for those of you who are curious, like everybody listening, if you were curious about like which 2 teams I don't want to win, it's Bills and Packers. I've said
Bills and Packers.
Bills and Packers. I don't care if any of the other teams win. Not
Bucs.
I have no issue with the Bucs.
Okay. I mean, what I'm thinking is like Tom Brady got his a couple rings ago. He got his 6 Infinity rings, and now he's going for
8
10 rings. Going for the 10 rings.
Yeah, he's going for the 10 rings. Yeah, I have no issue with Tom Brady. Yeah, I get people not liking him for cheating in the past, and I understand not liking the Patriots, and people also love to hate greatness. The amount of people, I just saw a poll the other day of 45,000. It was 45,000 people in a poll. Who is better, LeBron or MJ? 82% picked MJ. Any of those people were able to watch both players, it would be closer. They still might pick MJ. It's not going to be 80-20 though, or 82-18. Like that is, and that's what I mean. Like they hate greatness. LeBron James is in his 19th year in the NBA, and he's destroying. And he's right now on pace to be.
He leads the league in games where he scores 30 points and his team loses.
Right, and I think he's currently leading the league in points per game.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So you're watching a guy who's played almost 20 years when most players at their 19th year are not performing at all. They're probably either benched or gone.
Yeah.
Anybody that is playing in their 19th year is a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Crawford.
Right. Well, and Kareem played, and his 19th year was he averaged a double-double, but it was like 11 and 10.
I saw a post that was like Kareem, Wilt, and Dr. J for Ben Simmons, and it's like, then it's like a GIF, and it's the one that it's like, ain't nobody got time for that. Like, no.
I mean, the Sixers will probably turn that down. But yeah, so people like to hate greatness. So Tom Brady, I think people hate him purely because he's that good. He's
and if he gets to the big game, it's gonna be like, well, it's like, yeah, the other team's the underdog, but Tom Brady could get another one. You know what I mean?
So Bills, Packers are the only teams I don't want to see win. If either of those teams do win, I hope it's good football. I just don't want it to be bad.
We didn't play the Bills this year, I don't think.
No.
So I mean, the Packers automatically can't win the Super Bowl. because Kirk Cousins beat them, and no team beat by Kirk Cousins in the regular season has ever won a Super Bowl.
If there's anybody who can break that record, it's Aaron Rodgers.
We'll see. They got to make it there first.
And even with these teams that I don't like, or if I decide I don't want a team to win, I usually find a player or two that I like. Like there's at least 3 guys on the Bills defense that I think are worth rooting for.
Sure.
And I do like some players on the Packers, so it's fine. It's
right. I mean, you respect and you enjoy like good football. So
right. I just have specific teams like bias towards.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. Thank you all for watching the sports section of the Glazier Gamble. We will see you next week for episode 32. When eventually
my favorite number.
That's your favorite
32.
number?
Yeah, and then yours is right after that.
33. Yeah. But yeah, so we will be there to show all of our picks. I'll be 10-0 going into next week for the playoffs.
You didn't take one opposite me this time.
Yeah, we did. You picked Niners, I picked Packers.
Oh, okay. All right.
I picked Titans.
Damn, you're gonna be 9-1. That sucks.
Watch me be 6-4. Man, but anyway, we hope you all had a good time and you all look great today. I hope to see you next week. GG.
You will see me next week.
Well, the fans, dude.
Oh.
All of our fan. I hope to see them.
I love you.
Love you.